Workshop today for just a little project and remote control that I dropped. It's a remote to my gas fireplace, and so it's incredibly simple remote, just an on-off, but to get a replacement for it is crazy expensive for what it is. So I took it apart. What had happened is simply this little metal piece had come off of the board, and so I'm just going to be soldering it back on to make it work. So if you use your fireplace with a remote, you're probably going to be in a tough place if your remote stops working. Most of them have a switch there inside. You can do it manually, but that's not as easy. And what I found is nobody else in my house wanted to turn the fire on or off if the remote wasn't working. So it was all up to me. Before you do anything else with your remote to see how it's working, make sure that you check the battery, because that could be all that you need. So you check the battery simply by sliding the back cover off right here. And I've added some Velcro to mine, so it's actually sticking it on there. So you may call me a grandmother if you want to, but I wanted to stick my remote up where I wouldn't drop it again. So even before you replace your battery, just make sure that your battery is in here solidly, because this can easily be knocked out of place. You see, this is an incredibly cheap remote. I can't believe you can't buy these for 99 cents. But unfortunately, to replace one online is running $40, $50, $60. So it's well worth your money to try to fix it on your own before you go buying a new one. There's also a battery inside the receiver part in your fireplace. So I believe it takes 4 AA or AAA batteries. The battery in here is a unique one. Probably not have one of these on hand. In this case, it's an A23 battery. So it's not something I use in anything else I know of in the house. So I did not own a soldering kit. I've used one as a kid that my dad owned, but I've never had my own. Bought this no-name one on Amazon. I'll link to it below, but it did the job just fine for about 1/3 of the price of what a new remote was going to cost me. So pretty much any remote, if you drop it, something might be knocked loose. This is an old Roku remote, and so it is similar, except it doesn't have as any parts that would really come loose, except possibly the battery terminals. And so if you hear something rattling inside your remote, then you might be able to put it back together. So the connections on this one, you just see how each of these will connect when you press the button. So see how the little lines right here, this one has good light. So the little lines right here come very close, but they don't connect. So when I push down the button, say the volume button right there, that is going to, the button that you see and use will push down this little metal piece. It's plastic over metal, and then it will make a connection right there. So that's what's inside this remote that makes the connection between the two metal circuits to cause something to happen. One of my biggest obstacles was just being able to see that little tiny connection in there. And so I actually soldered it a couple of times before I made it work, because I couldn't see what I was actually doing. So my solution to that was take a picture of it on my phone and then blow that picture up, and I could see then what I actually needed to do. So if you're an old man like me, you may have to try that. So the remote and connection with my particular fireplace is a Skytech. I find that to be pretty universal for different fireplaces, but I think they're all probably made exactly the same. This thing weighs nothing, and it really should cost nothing. It's the most basic remote you'll ever find. On and off is all that it does. A nicer version of these will do a temperature and thermostat setting with your fireplace, but this one only does on and off, and just to get it working was certainly not worth $60. So in the end, there may be other ways to fix these. If your duct tape doesn't work, then you're going to have to get your connections remade, like I said. So I hope this was helpful, and hope it saves you a little bit of money if you're trying to fix your own remote. Thanks for watching.